Well, it's Valentine's Day, and I made you a Valentine. Now let's take a look at the new releases coming out this week. Hello, and welcome to Parents Guide to Games. My name is Stefan. You please like, share, and subscribe here at the Games Week of February 14th, 2023. The first game on this is Journey to the Savage Planet. This got on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: blood and gore, crude humor, language, use of drugs, and violence. This is an adventure game in which players assume the role of an aerospace employee on an interplanetary mission. From a first-person's perspective, players can traverse alien worlds, catalog flora and fauna, and battle hostile aliens. Players use laser blasts to shoot enemy creatures. Players can also kick aliens into carnivorous plants, resulting in splatter of green blood. The game depicts some comical TV ads that contain instances of gore and crude humor, a phone sex commercial for a gelatinous blob creature, a fast food commercial showing human limbs going through a meat grinder. In one sequence, players encounter a creature with an anus-like orifice. Players' scanning equipment confirms its festering butthole and a pile of poop. During the course of the game, certain plants release gases that alter the screen and color saturation. Text indicates the plant is dispersed thick mists of hallucinogenic spores. Enjoy responsibly. Swear words can be heard in-game. The next game on our list is Wanted Dead. This got on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, and suggestive themes. This is a third-person shooter in which players assume the role of a police squad member engaging in combat mission in future Hong Kong. Players use machine guns, shotguns, explosions, and melee weapons to kill enemy soldiers in frantic combat. Battles are highlighted by realistic gunfire, explosions, and large blood splatter effects. Several attacks result in dismemberment and/or decapitation of enemies. Other attacks result in enemies sliced in half or exploding into pieces. Players can perform finishing attacks and trigger slow motion effects. The game contains references to suggestive material, a sexual joke referencing 4 testicles, a character depicted with deep cleavage, dialogue stating a good bowl of soup is better than sex. There is more male nudity in your stories than in a Joaquin Phoenix film. Swear words are heard in-game. Now let's take a look at Shadow Warriors 3. This got on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The rating is mature. The content descriptions: blood and gore, intense violence, mild sexual themes, and strong language. This is a first-person shooter in which players assume the role of a shogun trying to recapture an ancient dragon. As players explore mythical realms, they can search key items while engaging in frantic combat against fantasy creatures. Players use pistols, shotguns, swords, and magic spells to kill enemies. Battles are highlighted by gunfire, explosions, cries of pain, and blood splatter effects. Several weapons cause enemies to be dismembered, decapitated, or explode into chunks of flesh. One finishing move allows players to rip an enemy's head off and crush the skull. The dialogue contains taunts that are occasionally sexual in nature. Swear words appear in the dialogue. And next game on our list is Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. This is coming out on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: blood, fantasy violence, mild language, and mild suggestive themes. This is a rhythm game featuring characters, settings, and sequences from Final Fantasy franchise. Players engage in rhythm-based battles, commanding their fighters to use swords, pistols, and magic spells against enemies. Videos and clips and cutscenes are depicted instances of violence, large-scale battles with explosions, a character impaled by a lance, characters shot with a gun or arrows, accompanied by brief blood splatters. Blood may also appear on the ground in occasional characters' faces. Some female characters wear revealing outfits. Swear words appear in the dialogue. Now let's dive into Tales of Symphonia Remastered. This is on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. The rating is teen. The content descriptions: fantasy violence, mild blood, mild language, simulated gambling, and suggestive themes. This is a role-playing game in which players lead a group of adventurers on a quest to save a fantasy world. Players can interact with characters, complete quests, and battle soldiers and enemies in melee-style combat. Battles are accompanied by sword slashes, cries of pain, and bursts of light. A few sequences depict additional acts of violence and blood, a character hanging from the gallows before being saved, an invisible character stabbed, resulting in a small blood pool. The game contains suggestive material, characters designed with revealing outfits, dialogue pertaining to breast size, male characters caught peeping at women in a hot springs outdoor bath. In casino settings, players can wager in-game currency on slot machines and blackjack. Swear words appear in-game. Now we're going to take a look at The Settlers' New Allies. This got on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is everyone 10 and up. The content descriptions: fantasy violence. This is a real-time strategy game in which players help a group of refugees establish a new settlement. From a top-down perspective, players construct buildings, gather resources, engage in trade, and battle rivals and enemy raiders. Players can deploy military units to protect their settlements, with combat depicted in large-scale skirmishes. Battles are highlighted by sword slashing, bright visual effects, cries of pain, and defeated units collapse to the ground and disappear. And the last game on today's list with a full description is Wild Hearts. This is going on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is teen. The content descriptions, fantasy violence, and use of alcohol. Wild Hearts is a unique twist on a hunting genre, where technology gives you a fighting chance against fearsome beasts infused with focused power of nature itself. Take on these creatures alone or hunt them with friends in seamless co-op. No one remembers why the Chemo began their rampage. The once prosperous Azuma, fueled by desperation, they wield the power of primal nature in their most destructive. For a while it seemed that no one could stand against the overwhelming might, for hope arises from a form of formidable hunter armed with deadly weapons and ancient technology called Crude that could turn the tide of the battle. And the rest of the games on today's list are also coming out, but no information was available. Thank you to bensound.com for the music track. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube at Parents Guide to Games, on Facebook at Parents Guide to Games, on Twitter at ParentsG2G, and email any questions or concerns at parentsg2g@gmail.com. And always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.